Hello, everybody. Welcome back to some more Absolute Cinema, where we're going to be talking about Bastard Munchen versus Barcha. And yes, I will talk about PXG, the Ubers match, and also the Munchen City match. However, but the first one we got to do is Barcha. So let's go. The chapter begins where we see Noah, the best striker in the world, and Ego coming out of the sign. Ego explains what this new stage of Blue Lock is about, and he introduces the other masters of the other teams, like Fraud Prince, Levino, Mark Snuffy, and Loki, the guy who cooked, them back in the second selection. He explains the rules about this new stage of Blue Lock and calls it the Neo-Egoistic League. And this is where we see Kunigami coming back from the wild card. And I'm not gonna lie, he looks emo. Asagi asks him how he's been doing, and then the training course starts. Asagi starts off with some dribbling maze, and then goes to the shooting range, where he gets blocked by the new character, Michael Kaiser, the ace of Bastard Munchen. And also his little good boy, Ness, comes in, and we're introduced to two other characters who also must be friends with Kaiser, I don't know. But, yeah, there's no need to even worry about them, Loki. And then Kaiser talks to Asagi and says he wants him to kill him or something. So Asagi accepts, and then Kaiser calls him a clown. But before anything can continue, Noah steps in and stops this beef. And I'm not going to lie to you, we're going to skip 10 days because I'm not doing all that. So 10 days later, the match begins, and we see the team loadout, and it's kind of nice, kind of clean. And then we see the Barcha team loadout, and we got my boy Bachira and Toya. Then we get into Asagi, and he bros on the bench. Then the game starts with Ness getting the ball and already passing to the other dude. Forgot his name already. And then the other dude passes to the other dude. Forgot his name already. And then they go up. So random guy passes to Kunigami. Kunigami leaps, gets the ball, dashes forward, and then kicks it with his right leg. And I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that, I was shocked. And then he missed. So yeah, and then Ness complains about him not passing to Kaiser. Kunigami says, "F off." And then Ness says he gets a yellow card for that, which makes no sense. And then we see Barcha come in and says it's time. So he moves upfield, and then we get a flashback from what Levino told them when they first met the team. And then we get this whole lecture about imagination from Levino. And then later, Levino talks to Bachira about his monster, and the monster inside Bachira comes back. And then we go back to the game, and we see that Bachira has evolved, actually, and he's better than before. So he uses his new move, Giga X Monster, and goes, and Kunigami tries to stop Bachira, and then that's where we get the matchup. So Kunigami tries to take it from Bachira, and Bachira dribbles, but Kunigami keeps up with Bachira, so he gets past Kunigami, gets past the other two, passes to Atoya. Atoya passes back, and then they do a chemical reaction, and then they score. So now, and then look at Kaiser's reaction, bro. Then it's 1-0-1. And Asagi realizes he needs Kunigami to win this match. Kaiser says it's going to be an execution. And then Ness and Kaiser go upfield. And then Ness is proclaimed to be a magician by Asagi, which makes no sense. So then Asagi goes on about how Kaiser is embodying his ideal movement perfectly. And then Ness does an illusion cross to Kaiser, and without Bachira marking him, by the way. And bro says, "Shoe fly." Disrespect. And then he jumps kinda, leans forward, and hits the ball, and scores. But didn't even move. And then Asagi says he's a genius. And then Noah explains that his shot is better than even his. And Asagi realizes Kaiser's ability is exactly what he needs. Then Levino comes on the field from nowhere, and so does Noah. So already, we got both of the masters on the field in the first chapter of this new arc, which I love. And then Noah talks to Kunigami. talks to Kunigami about what he did, and then Asagi gets on the field, and he's no longer a bench warmer. So now we get the new lineup, and Levino, and after clashing with Noah, Levino goes upfield, and is already moving and scores, making it 2-1. But then Noah decides to counterattack and go upfield as well. Ness passes to Noah, apparently. I thought he was just a Kaiser Glazer. But he moves upfield, and Asagi gets flashbacks of when he was his kid. Levino says they should move back. Levino tries to go for Noah, fails. Bro leaps into the air, and then shoots with his left and scores, and matching it up to 2-2. And then, I kid you not, bro gets taken off the game for no reason at all. He takes himself out and gets subbed out for Kunigami. So Asagi's still in the game. Thank God, bro. He needs screen time. So Kunigami explains what happened in the wild card, and it was a test to see who could replicate Noah. The game starts once again, and Toya and Barcha already start moving. And I guess Levino got off the field too, because bro is not here anymore. So Barcha gets stopped by Ness somehow, and Ness, I kid you not, gets his pass blocked by Asagi, is in shock, and then Asagi calculates his best move and decides to shoot it, but gets blocked by this rando. And then Asagi tries to figure out something by talking to the other dude, but it's useless. So he decides to do what he can, and thinks back to what Ego said, and decides to have a devious lock-in moment, and is already in the flow. And goes to the flow state. So then we see Ness about to get the ball, but Sagi comes and gets it. Then we see him go past Barcha, go upfield, sees Kaiser, passes it, past Kaiser, lands at Kunigami's left foot, specifically left. Tells Kunigami to shoot it. He shoots it with his left, and then, insanely hard, and then scores, making Bastard Munchen win the game. Immediately after the game, Barcha comes and compliments Asagi. And then Ness and Asagi have beef. Kaiser shuts it down. Kaiser holds Ness's head like a good boy. Ego explains that this event is being streamed. We see Rin on PXG, and they just beat Ubers. We see Asagi's ranking, and then we see the Munchen City lineup, and it's to be continued next week, because this video took really long to make, bro.